go ahead and look at this. This is going to be worm's eye perspective, looking up. Now we're going to draw some letters in here in just a minute. We're going to get started. It's going to be jazz, spelled out J-A-Z-Z, like jazz music. And so let's go ahead and try to create and put the Z right over here. So the first thing is, again, we always draw a box in perspective. So since it's 3 points, we started with our line. Now it's not a vertical line. I mean, it is going up, but the middle line, the corner line, now is angled to the top, which I've already done for you here on this practice. And so if you just put a simple box around the Z, just like this, that little box that we put in is going to kind of be like this box down here. And so all we have to do the Z, it's so easy. You just draw one triangle and two triangles. If you just draw two little triangles, the Z is done. Don't even draw the black part, just the negative area around the Z. And so we got to just draw those two little triangles right here. I'm going to draw that little white triangle right here that says number 1. So the number 1 is going to be right here. Now we have to point the part of the letter that normally would go side to side. We have to point that at the second vanishing point. So I'm going to do that right here. See it, my ruler's lined up. And then I'm just going to pick a spot where it looks like a good place to stop, which I'll do right about here. And then all I have to do is just draw the second part of that little white triangle. And so in this case, since the Z is going at an angle, that part of the letter is not going to go to a vanishing point. Okay, so even though it kind of looks like that part of the Z is going to the side, we don't have to worry about that going to a vanishing point. But that's done. So if you look, the number 1 right here, all I did was I just drew that triangle right here. You see that? That's how, I'm not worried about drawing the Z. I just drew the negative area. And we're going to get the Z for free. And so all I have to do is just draw the number 2 right here, because I know that's where it's going to go. And I'm going to line up my vanishing point here on the side. And I'm going to just finish this off by making a little triangle, and there we go. The Z is done. I just put the 2 right here and it's done. Simple, right? And all I need to do is take the corners. Here's a corner, here's a corner, and I just go back to the opposite vanishing point. So since the Z is angled to this vanishing point over here, we'll call this vanishing point 1. The corners will just angle to vanishing point 2. Very simple. And it will stop right there. And then this corner will just go also to vanishing point 2. And I think we're almost done now. It looks a little strange though. So let's not forget about this corner right here. And so that corner is now going to go to the opposite vanishing point, just like this, until it hits the side. And there we have it, a Z in 3-point perspective worm's eye. Very simple, right? We started with the Z, and now we're going to work our way up and go, and we're going to put another Z right here, or start with a box that gets a little smaller, and then we'll put the A right here, and the J is already started for you. And so since we're using worm's eye perspective, we are going to use the third vanishing point up here to create our box. So it's going to be in line with all of the other ones. And what we want to do is make the length of that corner so it doesn't quite go all the way to the other one, and it doesn't quite go all the way to this one. Let's first finish this one so we can kind of see where to stop. So this one, we're going to take the corner and go to our left vanishing point over here. And then this corner is going to go to the right vanishing point. Wherever it stops, that's going to be the back corner. And then we're going to go over to this one. Now here's the thing. You have to stop when it gets to the side right here. See, it gives you, you know exactly where to stop because the other one stopped right there. And so I'm going to kind of overlap it on top of this other Z, but I'm still giving myself a little bit of room there. So you can either just give yourself a little space or you can go a little higher. But just draw the box in between. Actually, I'll just stop, maybe I'll stop right below it. I think that would be better for this one. It's your choice. And then you're going to stop right here, right where it gets on the side right there. And then this one will go here. So we're drawing the box, that way we can fit the Z inside of it. Just like we did before, if you remember with the Z, it's just two triangles, that's it. All you do is draw two triangles here. These two white triangles, 1 and 2. If you just draw two triangles, 1 and 2, then you get the Z for free. You don't even have to draw the Z, you're just drawing the negative areas, just the 1 and the 2. And how do you do that? Well, this part of the Z, this diagonal part of the Z, is at an angle, so that won't really go to a vanishing point. Remember, curved objects like circles or ovals, or things leaning up against something like a ladder leaning up against a building, that lean won't necessarily go to a vanishing point. Or if you have kind of an angle like this part of the Z. But everything else would go to a vanishing point. Like if the sides of the Z here, those are going to go to the third vanishing point. The part of the Z that goes kind of horizontal, those are going to go to the two side vanishing points. And so all we have to do, in keeping with the way that we did the other one, is try to just make a little mark maybe where your first little part for the Z is going to go. So I'm going to do kind of like this, and that will help me to draw the triangle in there. And so just like how this part of the Z was going to the vanishing point, this part right here, you see this line, if I continue that line, now this line has to go to the vanishing point too to make the triangle. So we're making the triangle, it's just going to be shaped just slightly different. Now, what I like to do is, since we know that this corner ends right here, watch carefully, and we're doing the same letter Z, if I line up this corner with my top vanishing point, okay, then I'll know exactly where to stop the triangle here, because it's going to be in proportion. So I'm going to make a little mark right there, so I know this right here, this I just put a little dot, is where I need to stop the triangle because it matches up with the Z below it, that little corner. It matched up. And so I'm going to stop the triangle right there. And then little things like making sure that the width right here is smaller than the one below, just little things like that. And I'm just going to connect it like this. And so now here's my new number 1. Here was the number 1 negative area. Here's my new one. It's going to look like a different angle, but that's because it's higher up. And then same type of a thing. We're going to do the same thing. And now actually looking at this one that I did before, I'm actually going to change this little corner here to match up with this corner. And that's something I forgot to do yesterday. But I'm actually going to, if I bring it down right here, I'm actually going to make this part a little smaller. Actually going to still line this up with the vanishing point here, like this. And I think I'm actually going to just make this one just a little smaller. Now you guys don't have to necessarily do that, but I'm just trying to just make it just a little bit smaller here. And okay, now let's keep going, getting off topic just a little bit. But basically all I was trying to say is you kind of want to keep those lines kind of in line with your, with the other one that's right here. And so I think I'll stop it somewhere right around here. And this one will go back to our vanishing point just like we did before. And then I'm going to have my other triangle like this. Okay, and this one lines up, see how the corner lines up with the other one, and make that part, so there's number 2. Okay, so it's just like little adjustments. There's 1 and 2, and then just like we did before, the corners of the objects will go back to the vanishing point. So here's a corner right here and a corner here, and so this will just go back to the opposite vanishing point just like we did, and we're on our way. We can try the other ones as well. So all the corners go back. So with the A, what we're going to do is just fit those shapes right in here. And now we're going to start to see the bottom of that A. And so I'm going to make a little mark where I'm going to draw an arrow. Right here is where that little mark would be. If I make a little mark here and a little mark over here, these 2 little corner areas, then I can just draw a line down to the corner from both sides, and just like that, I have number 1 and number 3. Number 1 and number 3, number 1 and number 3. And then all we have to do is 2 more triangles, or 1 more triangle and a parallelogram. So I'm going to make a mark where I think the 2 is going to be, right here. And then what I'm going to do is draw the A accordingly. Mm-hmm. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to make a little triangle. Now this top part of the A will be going to this vanishing point right here. So it's going to slope down like that. And then here's the little triangle here and here. So number 2. Okay, number 2 right there. And just make sure that that part of the A, I'm going to make a dotted line so you guys can see it, would go this way, like this. That little top part of the A. Let's slope down. And then all I got to do is that little parallelogram part. So if I line up the sides of my triangle like this, I can make a little mark here. And here. And then I'm going to do the top part of that one going back to this vanishing point over here. All right, so there's my number 4. And I got all that drawn in. And then all I got to do is take the corners of the objects and go back to my vanishing points. And so here's a corner right here. So I'm going to go back to this vanishing point on the right. And there's a corner right here. Vanishing point on the right, there's a corner here. So just like we've been doing, all the corners go back to the opposite vanishing point. And then this one, I want to follow the angle of the A, so I'm going to slide the ruler over. And we can't really erase the other part, but what I can do is kind of shade it in with a colored pencil so we can kind of get an idea of how that might look. So if I use yellow, for example, I'll just use yellow right over here. That would shade in, and it's going to follow the same direction. Okay, and it's usually good to kind of like pick one color or one area of lightness for the whole, like all of this on the side, because maybe the light is hitting from this side. Just kind of, it's called light logic. And then real quick, this one, there's a corner right here, and that one, so we went to this vanishing point. If you use the little technique, remember we did that technique where we said, okay, you're going down a road. Well, the perspective lines are going like this. And so if we go down the road and we travel down the road, down the road, down the road, and we stop, the side of the letter is going in this direction, up and down. See, it's going this way, up and down. So then this corner would also go up and down, and so we'd aim that to the third vanishing point. Oh, actually, we don't have to aim it to the third vanishing point because that's at an angle. But it would be like that. So if I color this part in, here we can see it a little easier. And let's say the bottom, I'll use a different color so it stands out. Here's blue and blue. Okay, so there's a little line right there, and it follows the same direction as the N. The N was right there. So just a little technique. The last thing that we want to do is real quick do the J. And all you have to do for the J is follow the curves. And I'm going to let you guys try that and see if you can try the J on your own. How would we do that? Well, same thing. You want to think of the corner. Here's a corner. I'm going to circle right here. Remember, the corners always go to where? The opposite side. So you'd have to draw, there's lots of corners, and you'd want to connect, just like we did here, connect to the opposite vanishing point. So I'm going to let you guys try to do that and see if you can get the J. There's going to be a little jump right there, but I think you guys can handle it. All right, so that's worm's eye and 3-point perspective, just making sure that when you look at the letters, you create shapes inside. So like we looked at the A, we had little triangles, and we put the triangles inside of that box. And any line that's normally going vertical will now go to the third vanishing point up here. And any line that normally goes horizontal will now either go to vanishing point 1 or vanishing point 2. So right here on the Z, this line's going to go parallel to the other part of the Z right here. This part. Okay, and then this corner right here, since it's above the horizon, we'll go back to vanishing point 2. Now this is what the A is going to look like. But I just wanted to show you how to do that right here. So I'm going to put this one side by side so we can see this is a new one. So to get to this point of the A right here, then what you have to do is first make this one 3D, so the bottom of it. And so how do you do that? The corners go back to the vanishing point like this. And where's the vanishing point on this side? Right here. This one will go over here. Okay, and then all you have to do is look for the shapes inside of the letter. So do you remember this one? There's two triangles at the top, one in the middle, and a parallelogram. So what we're going to do is draw the 3 triangles inside of this one right here. So I'll just put the A right here so we can see it. And so triangle 1 is just going to be going down on the side like this. Just draw a little. That's triangle 1 right here. And so just draw the shapes that you see. Here's triangle 3 right there. And then we're going to see, I'm just looking here at this one from straight on, and I'm just matching it up. Eventually it will look like this. And then I'm going to put a little dot right here, and then just draw a triangle. A lot of times what I usually do with this is I will just freehand draw it, and then I'll use the ruler, because it's easier. Unless you have a clear ruler, it's hard to see sometimes. And then the bottom part will slant towards your vanishing point. This line right here will slant towards your vanishing point. And there you go. Then I'll just go back with the ruler like that. And then all I need, see, that's number 2 right there. Zoom in. That's number 2. And then finally we just have to draw number 4. That's the last one. And then we'll be all done. So right there, just line it up so this one matches. And then the top and the bottom go like that. And then all you have to do is take the corners, and the corners go back to the vanishing point on the other side. Here's 1, 2, there's a corner here in the middle, and it looks like I forgot that corner. Actually, on this one, I think I forgot the corner right there in the middle. Let me fix that one on this side. There'll be a little corner right here, like that. Okay, and then all you do once you draw the corners back is, remember that thing where we had the dotted line and it went all the way back to the vanishing point? We pretended it was a road. Well, same thing. If you're going down the road and you hit the end of the road, it's going in the vertical direction like this. So then right here, you just put your line like that. Okay. And then this one is going at the same angle here. I'll just go like this. This corner goes to here. So that's how you do that part. And then as far as the J goes, right here, that one you can try it on your own, but you know, it's the same thing. Just the corners will just go back to your vanishing point. And then over here, you can just kind of imagine that the corner would be like this. And that would be going back to your vanishing point. One will go across. Let's get a wrap around. So just like we did in 2-point perspective, the only difference now is you just have that third vanishing point. Have the jazz there, jazz music letters.